In this video, we're going to take a look at validation and verification for IGCSE Computer Science. So validation is an automated check to ensure that data entered into a table or into a text box or something like that is sensible. For example, if you're typing in selling prices for a website or selling prices for a shop or something, you can't put a negative price. It might be to check that you're actually typing something in the box at all. The idea is that the computer checks and stops something very silly being put into the system that could damage it or break it. However, this does not prevent data that's entered from being incorrect. So, for example, you might type in 1 cent instead of 10 cents or $10 instead of $100 or whatever like that. We can't stop that because that's a completely valid input. It's just incorrect because the human has made the mistake. So we've got an example here. So we're entering a price for a product. So it's a Ferrari 488 GTB, and I've put in $266.397 when really there should have been a comma there because it's meant to be in the thousands. So it's saying price cannot be less than 200,000 because it's a very expensive car, and I've put it in for $266 instead of $266,000. Now, verification, this is sometimes automated and sometimes carried out by a person. Most of the time it's carried out by a person really. So a verification check is where you check that what you've typed in correct, what you've typed in is actually correct. So again, like the first example, validation can't stop you doing that, but verification allows you to double check. So it could be double entry, so entering a password twice to ensure you've spelled it correctly. Maybe a screen check, so an additional screen pops up and makes you check all your values. Quite often this happens for things like forms and job applications and things. And a confirmation check might be a pop-up saying, have you checked all the data is correct before you continue. Now you've also got checksum and parity checks, but we've covered those already, so if you want to look at them, look at the previous video. So an example of some verification there, so we're entering a new price again. I typed in $266,000 again, $266 rather, and then I've confirmed it again and put the comma in instead of the full stop, and it's saying error, price doesn't match. Now, validation, you've got lots of different checks we can do. So you've got a range check, which checks that the data entered is numerical and in between a range of values, such as 1 and 19, 1 and 18, 18 to 30, something like that. A presence check, make sure that you don't leave a box empty, so a value is not left blank. A type check, which ensures that you type in the correct data type, so if you're asking for numbers, you actually type in a number rather than typing in some words. A lookup could be a drop down, or you could only type values within certain parameters. A length check, something for a password, checks to make sure that you've got the right number of characters, like on a password. And a format check, make sure it's in the correct format, such as date, being in day, month, year, instead of month, day, year, or whatever it is. So here's an example of a length check written in pseudocode. So I've got a boolean, that's called invalid, and a string called user input. Now I've got a repeat until loop, so it's going to keep looping until invalid becomes false. So we've got input, user input, then we're calling a function that's called length, which will return how long the string is, and if it's less than or equal to 8, that'll become true. If it's more than that, be false. And then if that is true, then it says too short, and then it'll keep looping. So that'll keep repeating forever until you typed in a password or a string that's long enough. Now a range check example here. So we've got two booleans again, two variables again, a boolean and a string, and then this one's saying the user input is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 100, and then if it's false it says please type a number between 0 and 100, and if it's true it'll stop looping and carry on with the program. So an example question you might have. So we've got, this is for the paper 2, remember. So there is a program that stores data. We've got an employee ID, which is 2 letters followed by 4 numbers. Manager, whether his employee is a manager or not, so 2 options there. You've got annual holiday, so number of whole days, annual holiday, and pay grade, which is the employee's pay grade, which must be a single letter A to F. So for this table, you've got to fill in the correct data types, and then you've got to type in the correct validation checks that there may be. So pause the video, give it a go. It's 8 marks, this is a big question, and see if you get the right answers on the next page. Okay, now for the answers. So employee ID would be a string because we've got numbers and letters. The manager would be Boolean because true you're a Boolean or false. Sorry, true you're a manager or false you're not a manager. You've got annual holiday as an integer because it's whole numbers, and pay grade would be a char because it's just a single letter. So you've got length check, presence check, format check or type check for the first one. You've got type check or presence check, so you can't leave it blank or it must be a Boolean. And then for annual holiday, you've got type check, so it can't be a decimal number or a string. Range check, so it might be that you only have a maximum of 25 days holiday and a minimum of 0. And presence check to make sure you're just typing it in. And then you've got presence check, length check or type check for pay grade. And that's it for this video, so make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.